Hi everybody, have a great opportunity today to sit down with Sadie Robertson Huff. By the way, just congratulations on the Huff part of that. Been married for 1 year.
1 year.
And there's a little Huff coming into the world.
A lot can happen in a year, I tell you.
That's amazing. Let's start with that real fast because we're going to talk about Passion 2021, which is coming up really fast.
Really fast.
And talk about passion in general and what God has been doing through the movement of passion. But before that, man, you guys are 1 year in, you got a little Huff on the way.
Yep.
How are you and Christian doing in the journey? What's God doing in your life in the middle of all this?
Man, we're doing great. I mean, it's been a crazy year. I was just talking to somebody the other day and I was like, if you look at the headlines from my family this year, we found out my dad had like a long lost sister, so we had an aunt. We had a drive-by shooting
at our house. Who came to the family like vacation the next week.
The next week. I mean, it was like crazy. We had this drive-by shooting, the pandemic, we all get COVID. Like, my sister gets engaged, we get pregnant, Mary Kate and John get pregnant. It's been wild. But it's been so good. God's been so good in the midst of it. It's been hard and challenging in a lot of ways. But again, just that constant, hope has been cool. And even just like having a child inside of me and this whole year has actually, not the whole year, but this last, 20 weeks-ish, it's just brought a lot of hope and a lot of new inspiration because it's easy in this year to think like, man, is it all over? Is it ever going to get better? Is what's going to happen? But having this mind that like there's a new generation coming, there's literally life inside of me on the way. It's brought this like new passion to go harder, to run faster, to pray more. And so Christian and I have felt really challenged by the idea that we have this life that we're bringing forth that we want to, pave a good path for.
Well, you guys are going to be amazing parents, and this child is coming into an incredible community. I mean, he's got a small town that's just family when he arrives, and she is going to be well loved, and she's going to be shocked when she arrives to this world and sees how many people are already in her tribe and really what an amazing family she is coming into.
I know.
It's going to be so cool.
We're so grateful. And just even the response online of people excited for her. It feels like someone was like, this is the best thing that happened in 2020. I'm like, you're bringing so much hope. Like, you don't even know. So she will be very loved, and we feel very grateful for that.
We've been talking a lot today about Passion 2021. It's coming up on New Year's Eve, and one of the things that was said a lot today, similar to what you're saying right now, is that 2020 has been a lot of stories of things going from life to death. Dreams, plans, people, loved ones, but really believing for the future and believing that God wants to turn that story around and bring things from death to life.
That's great.
And so talk about what you think the new year holds, and we don't know what's on the other side of January 1st. It might be some more of what we had in 2020.
Yep, true.
But what are your thoughts going into a new year? I mean, we had a lot of thoughts going into this year.
It's good.
But what are your thoughts going into 2021?
Well, it's really crazy because back whenever Passion happened 2020, there's so much excitement and there's so much hope for this year, and it's 2020, and I just remember hearing so much like it's the year of vision, and we're going to see vision, all this stuff because it's 2020. And then I actually preached at Passion Church 3 weeks later, and in those 3 weeks in my prayer time, I remember asking the Lord like what this year's going to be like, and I just remember so clearly that it was like, it's really not going to be about vision. You're going to actually just have to have faith when you have no vision. So I shared this message and not knowing what was to come, and I preached how Peter, who was walking on the water, he still couldn't see Jesus yet, but he had the faith to take him at his word and believe. And so this year I've been challenged by that word of having that faith whenever the vision you thought was going to come to life didn't come to life, and whenever you thought God was going to do this or this and he didn't, still trusting that he's good. So I've been challenged by faith this year a lot, and in the next year I kind of want to carry that same mentality of like, God, I'm just going to take you at your word. I'm going to focus on the red letters. I'm going to focus on what your word says. And I really want to see the church be the church come alive. I hope that Passion 2021 sparks I want to say revival, but also a repentant heart and a revival in this generation, so that we see young people influencing the culture with joy, with peace, with love in the midst of heartache, because I just kept thinking that this year. It's like, man, there's so much hatred, there's so much hurt, there's so much death, but yet we read this word and it's like the fruit of the Spirit is love, it's joy, it's peace, it's patience. We read this word and it's all about life. So I would love to see in 2021 that contrast begin of like, even if nothing changes, God is so good, and His Spirit through us, we see that goodness in the world, But that's my hope. I hope we see it. I think we can.
I think we can. I can't remember a Passion without you being there. I'm sure there were, because we're 24 years into Passion, but you guys are there. It seems like every year, and you've gotten a chance to speak into Passion, and then this year we partnered together with you, Christian, Live Original, Passion, to try to take this message to as many people as possible and to invite as many people around the globe. And we didn't even know there was going to be a Passion 2021 until like 2 weeks ago.
Literally.
And so we're at square one, a few weeks away from inviting people all over the world to be a part of this. And I know somebody asked you the question, so why is Passion going to do this online thing? Everybody's been online all year. Everything's been online. Everybody's got Zoom fatigue. And you were in an airport or something, and somebody was in the middle of asking you the question. And then somebody gave you the answer.
So it's really cool. We're sitting in the airport. I'm in Texas, a really small town in Texas. I was speaking at an event, and it was one of the first ones I had done since everything had kind of shut down. And my friend said, Sadie, why Passion? Why are we doing it? Why are we pouring our heart into it? She's on my LO team, so she was just kind of wanting to get the why. And right before I answered, these two guys walk up and they go, Sadie, Christian. They're like, so sorry to interrupt, but they're like, we flew all the way here from Michigan because they go to Michigan State. They said, we were at Passion 2020. We heard you talk. We gave our life to Jesus, went back to Michigan, started a Bible study in our fraternity. Now it's linked with the sorority. Now they do it together. They said, the first thing we saw you at was going to be speaking in Texas, so we're like, we got to go. And so they come all the way, see me in the airport, and happen to just share this story with me. And so we got a picture, they walk away, and I looked at her, I said, that's why. That's why.
Thank you, guys.
Because these two guys gave their life to Christ at Passion 2020, went back, and like I said, that's the hope that the church goes back into 2020, into the world, and they be the church. We be the light of the world. We be what we're called to be. And then they're just so excited. They're spreading this on campus. They're spreading it to their fraternity, the sorority girls, and all of a sudden there's this movement in Michigan State. That's why you do Passion. That's why you don't miss a year, even if it's virtual, because God is the same God this year. He's going to do the same big things this year in a maybe smaller setting, but in a powerful way. And so it got me so fired up. I just looked at her and I'm like, exactly.
You steward your influence really well. It's one of the things that Shelley and I love and respect about you and Christian a lot. You've had all these opportunities, doors have opened, you've gotten a lot of recognition and in a lot of different spheres, but you steward that so well. And I was thinking when you were telling that story, and we've talked about this a couple times this year, but some of the wins of COVID are people that would have never come to church coming to church. And you are part of our Easter gathering. And you posted it on Instagram, and this girl in Wisconsin, this high school girl, I think high school age girl, sees it on your Instagram, doesn't go to church, says, well, Sadie's gonna be at church on Easter, I'll go.
So cool.
Joins Passion City from Wisconsin, gives her life to Jesus that day. Invites her sister the next week to church. I like saying that, not to come and watch something, but invites her to church the next week. They come online to Passion City. Her sister gets saved. They invite their brother along, and their brother ends up getting saved. And these 3 teenage age people in Wisconsin now are alive in the kingdom because you stewarded well your influence, and you somehow are carrying that recognition and humility together. How's that balance work?
It's incredible. Thank you. First of all, we love being a part of everything Passion does because we see that, direct death to life moment for people, and that's one of the coolest thing ever. And so that's why we like to partner with you guys. We like to partner with anybody that is doing kingdom work like that, where you truly see the gospel activated in people's life. And so I think stewarding that I think we've been talking about influencers a lot today, and I think everybody has an influence. That's why I'm saying for Passion 2021, it shouldn't just be us promoting this, because we're not promoting it to sell tickets. We're promoting this because we want to see people truly go from death to life. And so I'm encouraging every influencer, who's every person with one follower on Instagram or Twitter, wherever you have, to post, to shout it out, because that's part of, to me, that's part of being the light of the world. Like, you know, sometimes you look at it and you're like, well, what can I really do with my following? What can I really do with my influence if it's 10 people? Well, one girl who preached a message at this event I was at, and 2,000 people, I don't know how many other people got it, but I got it and took it to millions of people. So you never know what one thing's gonna change a whole family's life, what one thing's gonna change a whole sorority or fraternity's life, what one post is gonna change a whole campus, and that can be from you, not from us, you know? So I think it's super powerful when you think about that. You even think about the spread of COVID, which is such a sad thing. You're spreading this thing that essentially can bring death to someone, and it's scary and it's sad. Well, on the other hand, we have this gospel that you spread and it can go really fast, but it actually brings life. And so fighting that battle, even spiritually, in the midst of a hard year, of saying, you know what, this is bringing death, but I'm gonna bring life. And that might just be as simple as saying, you need to get here online to watch this event, because the things that are gonna take place and what God's gonna do in your heart can be transformative. So I think people need to start believing in themselves, that they have, not in themselves, but in who God is through them, enough that they'll use their voice in their own life.
Yeah, you know, we talk about it a lot, and Passion's not just for college students. It's for like 18 to 25s, high school seniors, but the college campus is a very special place, and it's an incubator for all kinds of things. And I mean, it's been a minute, so a lot of people forgot or didn't know, but Facebook started on a college campus and quickly spread to another college campus, and now billions of people around the world are all linked together in this social networking site because of a college campus where things can spread super fast. And we really believe that at that crossroads and in that incubator of the campus, that if the gospel catches fire on any campus, could be big or small, could be Michigan State or Marysville College. If it catches fire on a college campus, it can change a city and change a state and change the world in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. I think, you know, I just did this poll on Instagram where I asked people if when they hear a sermon they want to be changed. And most people said yes, but 10% said no. And it was about 20,000 people who said no. And I was thinking about
no, I don't
want to be challenged. I do not want to change when I hear a sermon, which I thought was so interesting. And the majority of them were truly Christian people who truly go to church, and they just said, I like to be more comfortable. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, you know, that really is a problem, because if we want to see the change on college campuses, if we want to see the change in our city, if we want to see the change, then we have to be willing to be changed by the gospel. We have to be willing to die to ourselves and to live for Christ. We have to be willing to deny our fleshly desires and say yes to the Spirit. And so, you know, I would hate to see conference after conference every year of 65,000 college students gathering and then going back to their college and nothing happening. And so what I would encourage college students to do is, like, yes, it can be a place where it changes like rapidly and wildfire, and it can be amazing, but you truly have to go stand in the gap. You got to go stand in that moment and be the one that says, you know what, let's not do that tonight. I have a better idea. Let's have a worship night. Or it could just be, let's just sit around and like talk about what we're going through in life. Like just starting that change on your college campus. That's how you're going to see it change. It's going to be through you being the light of the world, not waiting on something to just magically happen. It's through you. God put His Spirit in you to go do it. So I really want people, I think this year's a great year for them to get that. It's like we don't get to gather this year, but we're going to encourage you and empower you and equip you to go out and be the change that you truly do desire to see. Because everybody, I think, would say, yeah, I want to see that happen at my college campus, but not everybody will say, yeah, I'll be the one to do it.
I'll be the one. Yeah, I love that we're going for it. I mean, I think everybody's like, surely you guys can figure out how to gather, you know, but right now that's just not the decision that we need to make. It's not the story we need to be telling right now. But yet we have this opportunity to have people from all over the world, literally, And we have an opportunity, maybe not officially, but you don't have to be 18 to 25 this year because it's an online gathering and people can join in no matter what age they are, really, if they want to be a part of it. But New Year's Eve, the afternoon break for dinner, and then this big ramp up to New Year's here in Eastern Time and Central Time. So what are your thoughts about New Year's Eve 2020 going into the first few minutes of 2021?
I genuinely think it's going to be the coolest thing ever because, like, this is how we started this year. Like, we started this year before the pandemic, before anything, like, crazy and bad happened, when we were living pretty comfortable lives for the most part, and we're shouting it out, and we're singing, and we're praising, and God is moving, and the roof is opening at the Mercedes-Benz, all this stuff is happening. And we're essentially ending it in the same way, like the same power of God, the same spirit, the same worship, the same heartbeat. And I just think that's so cool. It's like when we talk about God's faithfulness, that He is the Alpha and the Omega, He's the beginning and end. I think this is a really cool way of saying, like, you know what, it doesn't matter what happens from the beginning to the end, He's still good, He's still in it all. And we're going to declare that, and we are going to declare life for 2021. Yeah. And that's not the life that's just promised through here, it's the life that's promised through eternal life. That reminder that this is not our home, but we are going to help bring heaven to earth while we're here. I think it's going to be just incredible, and I think it's going to be challenging for people, but I think it's going to be so hope-filled for people to end the year same way we started, completely different context, same heartbeat.
Yeah, and everything was different than everybody thought. Everybody in that stadium had a different vision for this year than what has actually happened. But I love what you were saying. The scripture says God knows the beginning from the end. And so when we were starting on the very first moment of 2020, He already saw us in the very last moment of 2020. Totally. Isn't that amazing?
That's so cool.
Like, He's sitting there just smiling, going, yeah, it's going to be a year.
Yep.
Man, if you could only see what I see. But you're going to make it to the last minute.
Yep.
I'm going to bring you through all the way to the last minute. And I said this the other day, and I really am grateful for this year that God has been God this year. And He's been all the things we say that He is, and He's been an anchor and a rock and a fortress for us, and He's brought us all through. But I'm happy to say we're ringing out the old. Yep. And we're ringing in the new.
Yes, praise God.
And we're believing God because He's still God and He still has plans. And He's done so much this year.
So true.
There has been so much hurt, so much loss, so much pain, a lot of death. But there's also been so much life and so much depth and so much richness come through the year. So New Year's Eve afternoon, big break for dinner, get your people together if they're not already together, 9 o'clock till 1 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going for it.
We're going for it.
And we want everybody to be a part of it.
Yep, everybody to be part of it, and you really don't want to miss a moment. Like, that's the thing with this. You might think, man, that's spread out, that's a lot. No, you do not want to miss a moment.
We talked about the opening today, this idea for an opening kind of video-y kind of thing. And it was so great. I was like, it can't be the opening. People will miss it if they're not there in time. So it's got to be a little bit later.
So no, everybody needs to be there the whole time. Get all your people together. You don't want to miss literally a moment.
And it's going to be New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day every hour.
I think that's the coolest. That's one of the coolest parts to me. Somewhere in the world is flipping to the next year the whole time we're doing this. And so it really, speaking of your message last year, we're turning the page the whole time. We're like, okay, turning the page. It's going to be amazing.
Well, man, I'm glad that you and Christian are not just coming. I'm glad you're not just speaking, but I'm really pumped that you're helping us carry the vision this year and going into 2021. And we're excited about it. Want everybody to come on board. Don't wait. Get a ticket today. Join us, Passion 2021, New Year's Eve. Where else would you want to be?
Seriously, where else would you want to be?
Thank you, Sadie.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
We are honored to be on the team. We are having the best time because we truly do believe in this generation. We believe in what God can do through every person who's alive right now. And so it is a joy to get to carry that with y'all.
Yeah, thanks. See you guys at Passion.